I am recently retired from the Detroit Public Schools. 41 years of teaching English. And you know, I don't know what you read in the paper about DPS, but I do know that in the 40 years that I was there, I never met any of those people. All the people I met were wonderful, like strong teachers and great kids, and just had a really, really good time. Brenda's session last hour was on using drama in the classroom and using the students' personal experiences to write their information. We had a student at King who took the personal experiences of students and put it into a series of vignettes and did this really great play. And then the drama teacher worked with her. She polished it up. She presented it at school. She presented it. She made a movie out of it. They filmed it at King. She went to Wayne State. She updated it a little bit so that it was more adult and less high school. She presented it at the Studio Theater down underneath the Hillberry at Wayne State. You know, she's gone off to write movies, and she just published her book. So, you know, that use of drama was really good for her. That's what she wanted to do. She wrote a book once and gave it to me, and she said, after I read it, she said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, if you wanted to write a play, this is it. But if you wanted to write a book, this isn't it." Because she was still writing in that drama format. So she said, "Well, I think I'll write a book because I've already done a play." So okay. But you know, that kind of thing, those kinds of students grow out of the Detroit Public Schools. So just be careful what you read in the paper. So this is called Writing About the Hood. And I'm still not sure of the title. And it's a way to get students to use research. And it's based on, again, personal experience. Because I know some of you are students, so you may not have had this experience yet, but we've all had the student. You give them a research paper, you give them a paper to do, and when it comes, you think, boy, this kid really writes a lot better than I thought. And then you Google a couple of lines and you find out that she's downloaded the entire article from a 1978 Saskatchewan newspaper. So the idea is to find things that they can use for research that would be really hard to copy. And so this is just my experience, and I'm going to ask you to think about ways that you might incorporate a similar thing. It doesn't have to be the same topic or anything like that. We used writing about our neighborhoods because we had been studying American literature, and from September to June. And for each period of American literature, we would stop and look at the characteristics of that period. Because it's my belief that you can't really understand literature if you don't understand the background. You know, why does Hester Prynne stay in Plymouth? Why doesn't she leave? You know, what is she? You know, why doesn't she just pack up and go? These people are nasty. And you know, so if you look a little bit at the author, and you look a little bit at the transcendental theories or philosophies, and you talk about this idea of making your own decisions and doing what you think is best for yourself, then you can kind of understand why she stays. So when the students, when we talk about that, you know, what is all this stuff about? Why are there all these sermons? Why are there all these prayers? You know, why do they talk about God so much in the school books? You know, so if you talk about the fact that they believed that everything came from God, that man was basically evil and he needed as much training as he could get, then they begin to understand that. You know, when we talk about the transcendental period and this belief in nature and in man's making his own decisions and so forth. So that all built. So when we get to the end of the year, it occurred to me we hadn't actually looked at our own stuff. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was to look at this at our own lives, the context of our own lives. And so what I want you to do now is to think for a minute, is what in your curriculum could you maybe use to establish a research question? My question was to write about your neighborhood. That's not actually a question, Alex, but that's okay. So think about this for a minute. Because the idea is not to give yourself more work. The idea is not to add another leg to this. The idea is to incorporate it in something that already exists.